After so many days of relentless investigations and sleepless nights, I returned to the Thames area, to the very place where the bishop's nephew had died. I only had one trail left to explore, one last desperate attempt to understand recent events. I descended into the putrid, dark, suffocating depths of the town, the sewers. The fresh breeze from the Thames gave way to the stale, dank air of the dark tunnels. A shadow moving through an underground labyrinth, tormented, wandering through this humid, oppressive purgatory. What I might find mattered little. The most important thing was to keep moving. A piece of rope that floats. If it's long enough, then it might be useful. It's very heavy. A body! Oh, it was weighed down by the anchor. If I can retrieve the anchor, I can use it as a grappling hook. There. I can see something. This butt is still dry, despite the surrounding damp. It was thrown here not so long ago. Let's be careful. Footprints. Someone has been here recently. Incredible! This grate is new and has a mechanical locking system. Open? Come on, John. Courage!
And here's another. See how you like that? Oh, and how does this feel? Don't think you like that much. That'll teach him. Let's see if I can break.
Holmes!
so very glad to see you, Watson.
Whee! Yes, he's alive! The bad guys had better watch out now. Grandpa's alive! And he is a good man. I knew that he was. Uh-oh, they're going to be sorry now. My grandpa ruled.
Yes, and my grandpa saved him. Read it.
You are alive. I don't know what to feel, relief or regret.
Watson, my friend.
You are not in a good state, Holmes.
Neither are you.
I suppose not. Can you walk?
Not without your help.
Why did you fake your own death? And who were those men?
I have to carry on with the investigation alone. John, I'm innocent. I'm not an accomplice of those men. Look at me. Do I look as though I could be their boss? Am I in a position to give such orders?
What a relief. Oh, my God, what a relief. But how?
Curare, hemlock, a few Indian plants, and sheep's blood to create the impression of death. A pathologist who owed me a favor for the death certificate.
Holmes, I was talking about this affair of...
I will explain everything, my friend, but we must leave here.
Yes, let's go back to Baker Street. I'll help you. Lean on me.
Home at last. I have missed this old room very much, Watson.
I put everything back in place after Baines went through it, but I didn't stay here. I couldn't face it.
Sit down, my friend. It is time for you to know the full details of this case. First of all, I must apologize for the distress that this has caused you, and for my behavior, which was, I know, quite abominable. I can only hope that by the end of this explanation you will understand that I behaved in such a way only to protect you, and that it caused me great pain to see your trust and confidence in me ebbing away.
From whom or what did you wish to protect me?
From Professor Moriarty.
Moriarty?
We should not have taken pity on him in that Swiss asylum. Do you remember during the case of the Awakened? Our indulgence has cost us dear today.
He's responsible for the bishop's murder?
Yes, but that was only a small detail in his plan. A detail which he had to eliminate as it compromised the whole of his diabolical project. The bishop had in his possession a document which he suspected as being one component of a larger puzzle. The ramifications were unknown to him, but he considered the matter as sufficiently important that he should consult me. The day before our macabre discovery, his nephew, who was in his confidence, brought to him an important element which helped him understand Moriarty's grand plan. It was at that moment that two men began to comprehend the seriousness of the situation. The bishop then decided to contact me.
Against his nephew's wishes? Was that what they argued about?
Yes. But Moriarty found out that the bishop knew of his projects, and he arranged for his murder. The murderers were also supposed to bring back the document that the nephew, young Hampford, found, but they were unable to open the safe.
What was the document?
Evidence of Prince Woodville's implication in the project.
The nephew must have retrieved it from the Royal Archives, where he worked. A link to the crown.
Yes. Moriarty wanted to overthrow Queen Victoria and place the prince on the throne of England.
But that's impossible. He would have needed to create an incredible coup d'etat.
Patience, Watson. First of all, Moriarty placed his pawns so they might begin to develop and encourage a tense atmosphere, ready to discredit the Queen and thereby raise Woodville's popularity.
And provoke a famine, so that the prince's soup kitchens could begin distributing food and he would appear as a hero.
Exactly. Moriarty quickly learned that I was making inquiries as to his plan and, without wishing to sound vain, he knew that I was the only person capable of upsetting his schemes. He therefore set up a plan that I be discredited and thought of as a criminal.
And you played along with him.
Precisely. Allowing him to believe that he had succeeded was the best way of ensuring that his attention was no longer fixed on me.
Why didn't you say anything to Scotland Yard?
Did you not think it strange that Inspector Lestrade was away for weeks?
What? You mean to say that Baines
Was working for Moriarty.
I understand. The bishop's murderers were in the hands of this traitor, and you were therefore at a dead end after our investigations at the opium den.
Yes, and Baines' authority allowed him access to the police archives. He changed and forged all the charges in the documents that you saw at Judge Beckett's house. It was also he who substituted the Samoan necklace for a vulgar copy.
So that was why the judge went to Farley's, to obtain Baines's false information.
Precisely, but they each found themselves as instruments in Moriarty's strange orchestra. Judge Beckett received entire books full of charges against me, and a journalist such as Farley will not hold back when he gets the chance to make the front page of all the newspapers in England. With regard to Farley, it was a mere case of professional misconduct.
And to think that I held you responsible for the explosion at the judge's house. What a relief! But why did Moriarty have him killed?
He was on the point of discovering that all the documents supplied by Farley, and therefore by Baines, were false. Exactly the opposite to what our enemy was anticipating.
And where did the poison fit in all this?
Unfortunately, I do not possess all the information on this subject. The first time that we saw the effects of this substance.
And you were stuck then, weren't you? Allowing him to arrest you would have meant certain death.
Regrettably. But Moriarty's plan worked in any case, as after killing Baines, I became England's most wanted man for the murder of a Scotland Yard inspector.
And so you had to make sure that people forgot about you. Therefore, you orchestrated your own death, so that you might continue your investigation discreetly. Oh, that was a terrible time for me, Holmes.
I am sorry, my dear fellow.
Well, the important thing is that you are well and truly alive.
Yes, but it is not over yet. Moriarty will take action one day or another.
You were saying that you had found Moriarty's hideout. Where is it?
In an abandoned fun fair on the outskirts of London. It is quite certain that they are all there. Shielman, the prince, and of course, Moriarty.
If Moriarty puts the prince on the throne, he'll have his hands on the reins of the kingdom. Her colonies, her diplomatic network, her riches, everything.
Yes, including the army, the war fleet, everything he needs to help him conquer Europe. And eventually, I suspect, the world.
Holmes, we have to be quick. His plan hasn't been put into action yet. Perhaps it's not too late.
Let us go immediately, Watson.
Do you really believe that Moriarty is in there behind that fence?
Something in the wind seems to suggest it, Watson.
I have a peculiar acid taste in my mouth, if that is what you mean, Holmes.
Well, yes. The air is tainted still with toxic fumes from the factory chimneys.
I believe that I read about this place. The fun fair was abandoned after the factory was built so close by. It was said that even the ice cream tasted bitter. Aren't you curious about the warehouse down there? There seems to be some strange activity taking place inside.
Strange and in keeping with Moriarty's activities. Let us go and see what they're up to.
This motor is from... empty. Judging by the smell, I would say that it's an oil reservoir. There's a little petrol left, but not enough to start the motor.
Given the maintenance, this cable car isn't used very frequently.
True, Watson, but let us hope that it is still working.
cutting pliers. They could be useful.
There is a metal ladder stuck under the cable car.
This chest is shut by a cord, which also attaches it to the cable car's structure.
A bottle of motor oil.
I can't do that. A crank. This motor is from the cable car. The crank is in place. Here's what we can use for fuel. Let us hope it works.
It works.
We are going to separate. I will find a way into the fair, and you must investigate the warehouse.
Very well, I'll do that.
There is no one on the roof. If the machine should get out of control, then just use the brake. There ought to be one.
I should hope so. Anyway, there's no other choice. And when I've found out what is going on down there, what should I do then?
Come and join me in the fairground. You can follow my route to get over the fence. Then you should find me easily enough. Good luck, my dear fellow.
Come on, John. Courage! No one seems to have noticed me. Now I must try to find out what is going on here. Carts from the soup kitchens. They appear to be queuing up. I must find out what is going on inside this warehouse, but have to be careful. The place is full of guards. An empty bottle. It's too dangerous to go any further. So, it is inside these warehouses that Prince Woodville's canteens on wheels are filled up, and Hans is there to add his poison. That siren is a signal to open the doors and let out the carts of poisoned soup, destined for London. I wonder what Holmes is doing at this moment.